Bum back. I'm back. Hey. Welcome back, TTP. How are you guys doing? I'm literally kind of sad because I have the microphone here, but it's like really just for decoration today because I got the new iPhone 15, right, Pro Max, and I'm just realizing I can't use the same attachment. So I'm sorry if the voice quality isn't the best today, but we're gonna try. We're doing another. First off, sorry y'all, I'm ADHD, but so child styles on the hair always. Y'all know the vibes. But yeah, guys, I'm so grateful. I just want to tell God thank you, like times a million. He's blessed me be able to do things for myself and others that I can only dream of at a certain point in my life. Like tomorrow, it's also a work convention for me, but I was able to, make it a birthday trip for my mom, and I'm just so grateful that this is just the beginning of me being able to take care of her and give back what she's given me. Yeah, bro, like I'm just so super grateful for my life and the position that I'm in. Like, I'm super grateful, super grateful. But yeah, like, I can't really tell you guys a lot of changes going on. I just have to let you guys see eventually. I just gotta let you guys see eventually. You feel what I'm saying? Eventually, y'all. Because you know what they say, people can't interrupt, people can't mess up what they don't know, baby. They can't mess up what they don't know, baby. But today's just gonna be a light beat while I just chit chat with y'all. Just talk about the stuff going on in the world. This is episode 40. So blessed, bro. So blessed. Imagine, bro, me a year ago, I was like couch hopping, trying to get my shit together. A month later, I finally got a new car, and then from then on, I've just been getting back to where I'm supposed to be. So imagine, I was couch hopping, not because necessarily because of anything I did, but also, have to hold a little level of accountability for trusting the wrong people. But anyways, whatchamacallit, like, yeah, imagine me last year, a year ago, I was couch hopping, bro. I have no shame in anything that I've been through because I know why I went through it, and I know that if I just listened to what God was trying to tell me, I would have never had to go through it. But sometimes you have to go through things so you know to never let it happen again. And I'm grateful that a lot of things I've been through, I've had the courage to really face it at a young age and not continue the same cycles. Because a lot of times, a lot of the cycles that we go through are cycles we've already seen, aka generational curses. We've seen other people in our family, albeit your mom, your parents, aunties and uncles, you've seen things in your life and subconsciously made it okay because you're just like, oh, I've seen them go through it and they're fine, so if I go through it, I'll be fine. Which is true, because no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Here, you guys already know. And I use my e.l.f. This joke almost finished. Grip primer. But yeah, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, but that shit will hurt. Especially if you keep putting yourself in the same situations. Because if God is giving you the keys to move forward and giving you, and when I say keys, I mean the knowledge. Knowledge is the biggest key that he gives us. Because we have free will, he's never going to try and take that away from us, but he will guide us and give us information to guide us towards what he knows is best for us. But a lot of times, it's hard to break out of like what you know, because what you know is like, it harbors a sense of safety. It harbors a sense of comfortability, especially if you're used to going through a lot of like toxicity and stuff like that. A lot of shit is out of our control, unfortunately. But fortunately, at a certain point, when we learn what we're supposed to, it's like God opens up new doors. But in order for you to walk through those doors, you have to close the ones that are still open and still open to bringing in negativity that could disrupt the new doors you're walking into. You know what I'm saying? Whether those old doors be pride, whether those old doors be an unbalanced ego, whether those old doors be sexual trauma, mental trauma, physical trauma, domestic violence. Like, it's hard to hear these things, but these are things that people go through on a daily basis. You feel what I'm saying? Like, for example, this whole Diddy situation. Imagine. And I feel like people only see curses as like physically bad things that are happening, but curses can be mentalities. Because a certain mentality was accepted for so long that allowed so many victims to go unheard. And it's because the mentality is like embedded in the culture. It's hard to be like, to feel like, oh, this is wrong if you see that it's been so normalized. You feel what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times, especially with families, bro, a lot of mentalities that, especially, I know I can only speak for myself in the African community, a lot of mentalities like you have to stay regardless of what's going on in your family home is like literally toxic. I know I ran away when I was 17. I was tired of that shit. Okay? Like, when I tell you sometimes, and don't get me wrong, like, it was not easy trying to go against everything that I was hearing, right? But some part of me knew, like, nah, this is not right. I don't deserve to deal with this for the rest of my life. Because when you accept it, you then open up doors that you accept. You feel what I'm saying? Like, instead of choosing the doors that God has for you, you choose what's most comfortable. And most comfortable sometimes can be the pain that we haven't resolved. Because there's a certain level of uncomfortability that comes with acceptance. You know what I'm saying? Accepting that something is not right, or accepting that certain things shouldn't happen. Because once you accept that, it's like you are now in agreement with yourself. Like, this is not what I want for myself. This is not what I want for myself. So why would I then continue to allow the same things that I'm clearly seeing that I don't want to go through over and over and over again? You understand what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times, bro, back to this whole Diddy situation, there are so, and it's not just sexual trauma too, there are so many different curses you could find in this one situation. Because there was, you know, intimidation, people that tried to speak up, whether or not they were victims or people or bystanders, and they were silenced. And it's like there's a certain level of acceptance that people with power can have when it benefits them. So a lot of times it's like we also have to be careful who you're listening to and who you're in agreement with. Because you have to really analyze people. You have to vet people. Because if you just, you know, even if it's someone that you've known for a long time, bro, it's like a lot of times we see things and think we're supposed to be okay with it simply because, oh, this is what, you know, I'm used to. This is what I'm used to seeing in my community. This is what I'm used to seeing in my family. So, you know, maybe I just have to go through it and get through it. But you don't always have to go through shit. You feel what I'm saying? You don't always, there's certain things you can grow from observation. You can analyze the situation and be like, oh, is this really something that I feel like is okay? But in order to understand that, you have to be in accordance with yourself. What is acceptable and what isn't acceptable to you? And for me personally, I derive a lot of my principles and my values from my relationship with God and what I grew up understanding. whether it be growing up understanding what I didn't want to see in my life, or growing up seeing what I did want to see in my life. You know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of times, like, we don't realize how many of us are going through similar situations, and we think we're all alone, we're the only person going through it, so we feel like, oh, we just have to accept what's being given to us. But I promise you, babe, you really don't. A lot of things that people will encourage you to accept are things that will keep you within a certain position that benefits them. Going back to what I was saying, only time someone will be okay with you allowing yourself to be in pain is when your pain benefits them in some way, shape, or fashion. So it's not that it's okay what you're going through, but because someone else is benefiting from it, they're okay with watching you go through it. And that's not okay. You feel what I'm saying? That's not okay in the slightest. A lot of times we allow ourselves to accept stuff that we have no business accepting because we don't realize we deserve way better. You deserve way better than people, you know, making you feel like you're not worthy of being happy, making you feel like you're not worthy of freeing yourself from the chains that you've seen over and over, whether it be in your family or in your community. You feel what I'm saying? And then a lot of times the most hurtful part is when you really start to understand that, no, this is not okay, and you start advocating for yourself. A lot of people be like, oh, you're doing too much. Oh, like, you're too sensitive. Oh. But it's like, if you were in that position, even if you agree with oversensitive, whatever the case may be, wouldn't you want to still be heard and understood? You feel what I'm saying? Like, especially the worst part is back to this Diddy situation. When it's people that are hurting people that are already, you know, known or loved by the community. And it's not that, like, that they don't deserve that love, but there's a certain level of accountability that needs to be had. You feel what I'm saying? Like, just because you have done things and you've done good for your community doesn't mean you can all of a sudden stop and be like, okay, I've earned the right to now hurt people if it benefits me. What? That's crazy, dog. That's real life crazy, dog. Like, imagine you got all these people trusting you because they've seen your journey, they've seen you come up, they've seen whatever it is that intrigued them or gave them inspiration, and now you have these people that trust you because they see you at a higher level or whatever the case may be, or in a position that they would like to be at. And now you're not only misusing the opportunities that you've been given, but you're also using those opportunities to hurt people. Like, that's disgusting to me. And it's not like all the times it's intentional, but it comes to a certain point where it's just like the lack of accountability creates more harm than good. You can do all the good in the world, but if you're intentionally harming people, that does not mean you're like an intentionally good person. I always say all the time, I don't believe in bad or good people, but I do understand that people make very poor decisions that harm a lot of people. So it's not that like, oh, you're this horrible person, but you're doing messed up shit. Stop. Like, stop. And it's hard because once you start benefiting, it's like, oh, well, I've earned this. Oh, well, I've helped this person today. This person will get over it. Oh, they just have to get through life. And you think, a lot of times people think the things that they've been through, it's like they feel like it's okay to put other people through that because it's like, oh, I've been through that. You'll get through it. But if you don't have to, why would you? If God lets you go through it so you can help someone else or prevent someone else from going through it, maybe that's the answer. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, y'all, like, I'm just like trying to get real deep in my community bag. You feel what I'm saying? Because I'm seeing the world how it's going right now. And if you weren't someone who had like a strong faith and understanding of the world and the way the world turns, you would think like, oh, it's like the end of the world. Which is true and not true. Like, we're living in a time of revelations. But it's like people forget that the spiritual always comes before the physical. So it's not necessarily that the world is ending, but the world that we understood it as is ending. Because there's a spiritual war going on. We fight not against flesh and blood, but principalities and evils. You know what I'm saying? Evils of the spirit. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, I didn't quote that verse properly, but you understand what I'm saying. Like, we are not just here to just be here. No one is here to just be here. And if you are looking at this day and age and seeing all the change and the revelation happening and think people are just here, like, there's being so much corruption and evil. That's the only thing you can describe it as. Evil. It's messed up. Turning people's evil. Like, there's so much evil being revealed, and it's like now up to us, because if we're all fighting the same spiritual war, spiritually we have to get stronger in our understanding of how things work, so we know how to defend ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? Because as the world turns and things are revealed, those peoples that have been revealed will be removed. That's just how it happens, because God has to usher in the new generation. The meek will inherit the earth. That is what's going on right now. Those who have gotten away with doing so much wrong for so long, it's like everything's being revealed for replacements, if that makes sense. So it's like, if you think that what you're doing in the dark won't come to light, babe, that's just not true. Obviously, certain things take time, and that makes certain people feel like, oh, well, if it was so bad, like I said in my last video, if it was so bad, God would have done something to me by now. But sometimes you do it to yourself. A lot of times you do it to yourself. And then we blame God when we fall from grace. But I'm like, your fall from grace was because you didn't adhere to the requirements of that grace. Grace is not just free. It is and it isn't. Especially if you are someone that is anointed and you're aware of the world. That anointing is really just kind of like when Eve ate the apple. Adam and Eve ate the apple. It's like they had a certain awareness. Now switch that to modern day. When you have a certain anointing over your life, you have a certain wisdom of how the world really works. Because a lot of people are walking in this world blind. And that's another reason why a lot of people keep making the same mistakes, because they are not aware. They're not self-aware, and they're not socially aware. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, understanding that has helped me to refine myself in the ways that I see the world, in the ways that I counter the darkness that I experience. And also, a good way to counter that is through community. Not necessarily like you have to have the biggest group of friends, nothing like that, but engaging with your community, spreading information with your community, helping people grow is what is gonna bring more awareness of the darkness that is really going on right in front of our faces. But a lot of times it's like we be scared because we're like, oh, in order to maintain a certain social hierarchy, to maintain the material abundance that we see other people have, unfortunately you have to hurt people. And if you love this world, the devil will bring you plenty of opportunities to hurt people and gain the material things that you want. Easy. And it'll start off small so you can start to desensitize yourself to the feelings and the things that other people go through. Because once you're desensitized, it's just like you now live in like a self-centered world, because you're not only desensitized, but when you desensitize, y'all know what I'm trying to say. You also detach. There's a certain level of detachment required, because it's like you're just detaching yourself emotionally from the things that are going on around you. And in order to do that, you have to have a focus on something. So your focus will be solely on yourself. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're self-aware. And a lot of people are self-aware and still intentionally harm people. But a lot of people, because they only focus on themselves, they don't understand how the world works. They understand how their world works. And then they apply it to everything else, not knowing the harm that you could be doing because you're not aware. Yeah, y'all. I'm not going to talk y'all heads off today because I have so much stuff to do. I have like 3 clients. But I did want to check in and just, do a little chat, because it's been a couple days since I've been on here. And y'all know, I'm finna go on vacay, so I want to make sure I got that out before I left, for real. But yeah, y'all, like, a lot of the things that we put ourselves through and we put others through is so not necessary. It's really not necessary. Because it's just like, there are so many examples in this world, especially in the age of the internet, to understand right from wrong when it comes to how you treat people. So it's just like, the only thing that it can be called when you do the opposite is either pure ignorance, pure greed, or pure selfishness. I'm sure there's a lot of other things you could say for that too. But like, seriously, y'all, like, it's so important to be aware of yourself and how you impact this world, because everything that goes around comes back around. Whether it be today, tomorrow, the next day, or the next. It will find you, Bookie. What they call God omniscient, omnipotent, like all-powerful, all-knowing. He sees everything. You can't hide from God. You can hide from yourself, I guess. But eventually, you're going to be held accountable if you don't hold yourself accountable. Because God is a God of discipline. He's a father. So in order to prevent you from continuing to hurt people, God will sometimes put you in a real shaky situation to really reevaluate how you are presenting yourself in the world. Whether it be, it's not only like always doing like bad things, but sometimes being not too good, but being too accepting of things that you don't deserve is another thing that keeps you in cycles. People think karma is just for hurting people, but it's like hurting yourself is just as bad, if not worse, as hurting someone else. God said your body is a temple in which He would reside in. So why then would God allow you to treat your temple disrespectfully? Why would God allow you to allow other people to treat your temple disrespectfully? You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's not just about your outer world, because everything in your inner world reflects your outer world. You understand what I'm saying? Just like I said earlier, the things that we go through are usually reflections of things that we have not yet healed from or understood within ourselves. So all God can really do is put us in those positions to understand, like, nah, babe, this is not what you want for the rest of your life. I promise you. I promise you, you don't want this. You don't want it. You don't want it. So I promise, you don't want it. Like, for real. But it's like a lot of times we get so caught up thinking, oh, like, I don't want to make people mad at me because then I won't get invited to this, that, or the third. And in reality, these people don't even really like you. So it's like you're allowing people to disrespect you. And it's not even that they don't like you, but a lot of times people can be envious of you. Envious of your ability to be who you are. So it's not only just important to treat other people well, but it's so important to treat yourself well. Because you deserve it. And if you don't know how to treat yourself well, you won't really be able to genuinely, I don't want to say genuinely be good to people, but a lot of times you being good to people is going to be coming from a place of people pleasing. A place of thinking that you have to do it out of necessity. And that's not truthfully giving from your heart. And it's honestly more not disrespectful, but in a sense to God, it's more disrespectful than just being outright a dickhead. You feel what I'm saying? Like, if you were just yourself and that's just who you decide to be, okay, stand on that. But being one way because you feel like you have to, and really, really in your heart of hearts, you're not like that, that is worse. I tell you that much. Because at the end of the day, you can only fake for so long. And everything that you give will have evil eye attached to it because it's not genuine. So it's not really helping anyone in the first place. So really, really, just stay true to yourself. Understand yourself so you know how to stay true to yourself. A lot of times, a lot of us aren't really paying attention to what we truthfully like. We pay attention to what other people think that we should like. And who cares about that? Who cares? Stop caring if you care. Stop caring if you care. People are going to do what they want to do, say what they want to say. Who cares? Literally. Only person you should be worried about being right with, God first, is yourself. And then you can start moving from a place of genuinity when it comes to how you treat other people. Because if you're just moving from a place of checking off things on a list, bro, you're gonna get tired of that eventually. Especially in the age that we live now, where everybody's kind of like, I don't want to say free to do as they please, but they are. That's the society that we've kind of like created. It's like, we can be like this, check it off on the checklist. People think we're good, so we can continue to do the bullshit behind closed doors. Ooh. Ooh. You feel what I'm saying? So it's just like, be real, be authentic. The only way you'll be able to heal those darker sides of yourself that you might not necessarily like is if you're real about it. Because if you keep ignoring those darker places or darker versions of yourself, you're ignoring what those darker versions had to go through to be who they are. And when you're not aware of how deep rooted your negativity or the bad things that's happened to you is rooted in your life, subconsciously you're always going to move from that place, and you're not even going to know it. So a lot of times you could be hurting people and not even realize, just because you're not self-aware. And that's scary, because you could end up losing a lot of people that you genuinely love and you genuinely care for, and then you'll just be stuck there confused, like, God, why is this always happening to me? Why are the people that I like always da-da-da-da-da? Child's karma. It's karma. She's knocking at your door. And a lot of times we think like, oh, da-da-da-da, I want to do woe is me, but I'm just like, babe, you put yourself in that position. You think God's gonna give you one of his anointed children to like, I don't want to say just anointed, but you think God's gonna give you one of his kids just for you to turn around and hurt them? That don't make sense. If God loves his kids, why would he do that? He's gonna steer them away from your pain until you understand your pain and heal your pain. Because until you heal your pain, you're gonna act from a place of pain. And you don't deserve that, and no one else deserves that. So understand this week, as you go throughout the week, go throughout the day, whatever the case may be, like, be real. Be real! Stop being fake. You never know how many doors and opportunities you're closing for yourself because you're not allowing yourself to be your truest self. When you allow yourself to be your truest self, you're going to attract whatever you put out into the world. So if you're being fake, you're going to attract fake people, fake opportunities that will leave you high and dry because you thought it was one thing but ended up being another. Not necessarily that it's not an opportunity, but it's not your opportunity. It's someone else's opportunity that you're faking and taking up space for. So, as I said, the key to a long and happy life, and really not just happy, but purpose-filled life, where you wake up and you actually enjoy your life and you enjoy waking up and facing another day, is usually because you know you can be yourself and you know you can be your fullest self without worrying about outside opinions, because you know that they don't matter. Okay, so I love y'all down. 40th episode per. We back, and I'm gonna see y'all. I'm probably do a little vlog while I'm in Miami, but I love you guys.